Hi, everybody. We're back for another episode of For the Love of Health Facebook web series, where we get to feature our community members and people who are working in the holistic health modality, in the holistic health industry, and who are interested in positioning some of their services or some of their visibility online to better connect their audiences, to grow their businesses, and we all can just learn so many things from all these practitioners. We've had such a great group so far, and I just think it's getting better and better. The guests are just getting better, and we are here today with Dorsey McFadden, and she is an accredited ADHD coach. So this is definitely something to tune into, as so many of us are, you guys have been asking me questions about how do I keep myself organized, or you're being diagnosed with ADD or ADHD in your later life, and here we go. You can get all the information right now from Dorsey. Dorsey, thank you for being here with us today.
You're so welcome. I'm excited.
Yeah, and you are physically based in Richmond, Virginia, is that correct?
I am, yes. I'm actually physically located in the Museum District.
Oh, nice. I lived there for a while. It's so beautiful. We have people in this group who are from all over the country, from Canada, but it's so, wow. Yeah, so they don't understand, but Richmond is such a pretty city. We have such a beautiful museum district with old statuary and old homes and gardens and things like that. And we're in the South. What does that look like for you in your practice? Have you been in person and working physically, or are you online?
I actually do all of my work online, but I do physical talks, and I plan to do workshops eventually, but all of my clients are all over the world.
Oh, that's great. So how did you get to that place? Were you doing, what kind of things came into your way to make it possible?
Well, I started life with ADHD. I was born with an ADHD brain, and I was diagnosed young. And I grew up, with the struggles that all of us have with ADHD. And I had really great support from my parents and academically, so I did very well. After college, I had about 20-year career in digital marketing. And right about at the beginning of COVID, I was laid off, unfortunately. And at that time, I reevaluated what I wanted to do with my career. Right before then, unfortunately, I lost my brother to addiction, and he was also ADHD. And I saw how much his ADHD impacted him, and it broke my heart. Along with the addiction, of course. And in reevaluating my life goals, I realized that I needed to help people. I needed to be in a profession that did more, because I myself had healed myself from an autoimmune disease, and just educated myself about what ADHD is in my 30s after living with it for 30 years. Realized I didn't really even understand what it was. So I went to a training program on it and really just learned so much, because in the last, 10, 15 years, really the last 5 years, there's been so much new information that's come out about ADHD. It will blow your mind. It's not what everyone thinks it is. And managing your ADHD can make your life so much better. Unmanaged ADHD can reduce your lifespan, actually. So I decided I wanted to go to school for it, and I went to an accreditation program and started my practice last year. And since then have been gaining clients and helping people, and I just absolutely love it. I love connecting.
I love that story so much. I really want to pull out the fact that you reframed and retrained in your already existing field. That, you're like, actually, I don't know much about this, or I don't know what's new on this, right? Sometimes, and I think I've heard that before from other people, but definitely I've heard that where, it's like, well, I studied that a while ago, and staying fresh, staying relevant in what it is that, you were experiencing and what you were working with. So that takes a lot of courage to do that. And then also what you said too about wanting to see the profession do more. That's a really great perspective to bring into this as a whole. And I think a lot of reason why a lot of people are shifting their models around from just the single service session to more of a coaching basis where, you know, something different is happening than what is happening in this industry. So, and I had no idea about your loss. So let's go into that a little bit. You know, how close together was the death of your brother? It's so sad from addiction, and so many people are going through that right now. And as well as this transition in your job. I mean, how close together were those events?
It was very close together. Unfortunately, it only happened 3 years ago that we lost him, but his struggle began very young with drugs. And as is the case with ADHD people, we have that addiction brain, unfortunately. So a lot of us will know addiction in our life, and it doesn't have to be drugs. It can be shopping, it can be exercising, it can be eating. So I want to help people work. Yes. Absolutely.
I laugh nervously, believe me. It's like, you know, something that goes through my mind like that. Definitely, right? You can.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I saw my parents struggle when we were growing up with him because we were two very different people. I had a natural internal drive for education, which really is one of the reasons I was successful, but he didn't have that. And they didn't have the information that now is available about ADHD. So they couldn't help him as much as they could help me. I was successful in my career at managing my ADHD, but I wasn't necessarily happy. And that was the piece that was missing. And I named my business Live Happy ADHD because I want to help people have a happy life, however that is. I want parents to help their children be happy and healthy, no matter what that means to them, you know?
I think it's a really good point. And I have a lot of experience with children in the sector. I worked at an inclusion-based facility, the last job that I had. And we had a lot of children with diagnoses that were like multiple diagnoses, not just one. And you could see that some of the tools that worked for one child would not work for the other child. So you bring up a really interesting point about that variance and that spectrum, those spectrums that those disorders or diagnoses live on. And you're right, so much information comes out. So tell us a little bit about you know, some of the, you know, recent discoveries you're making working online. Is that a compatible environment, and are you finding something unique about it that people can learn from?
Absolutely. I like to say that there are many flavors of ADHD because in each one of us, it's going to look different. The core symptoms are the same, but all of us are individuals and influenced by our personalities and characteristics, certainly. Online has been wonderful. I have been able to connect with an ADHD community that is much broader than I ever had physical contact with in my life. In fact, right following my brother's death, immediately after, I actually created a nonprofit called Flex Your ADHD. Oh, wow. And that's for adults with ADHD. And it's a Slack online community and a website that has stories, personal stories that they share. And that connecting with them was so empowering because for once I felt like I wasn't the odd one in the room. I wasn't the awkward one. And it gave me a power that I had never known before. And I wanted other people to be able to feel that. So really have loved that. Online has been wonderful.
And so beyond that broad outreach or that sense of compatibility and community, you know, how about the, you know, in the interpersonal one-to-one, you know, therapeutic dynamic? Has online been a useful space as a practitioner for your practice?
Yes, absolutely. For ADHD people, when you become an adult, ADHD is much more about energy management and having to leave your place of work, go drive somewhere else to be on time for something, sit in the waiting room, to go into your practitioner's office for a short appointment. When you're just talking, it's extremely exhausting, takes a lot out of you. So being online not only allows me to protect my own energy so that I can do more during the day, but I'm helping more people and fitting more easily into their days. It's not the same for children. And I do coach teens and above. Small children, if I do end up coaching them, I probably will coach them face to face because I think it probably would be much more difficult. The online aspect also allows me to use tools during our session that I really wouldn't be able to otherwise. And I love that. It's just been fantastic, really.
I think that's great. So, you know, that broad interest engagement happens online, as well as the ability to fit into adult lifestyles. So that's a great thing. But also, I appreciate your honesty, because we do have people in our audience who work with young college student, or even children, adolescent demographics, family demographics. So it's going to be encouraging for them to hear that, oh, maybe I have to do some kind of like hybrid approach where and online, but just some of the qualities that you bring out, maybe they didn't think about accessing or utilizing.
And also just to put in there, some people don't like video. So visually can be very overstimulating. So we can just do audio as well, which is wonderful.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So that's like how you're doing this. And, you know, how long do you work with a particular client for, or does that matter? Are you doing it based on insurance?
No, I don't take insurance, unfortunately, but your insurance will sometimes cover the cost of ADHD coaching. It needs to be pre-approved, and then you would get like a flex spending account and be able to use it to pay for coaching. The way that I personally organize my coaching packages is as a subscription. I just find it easier, even for myself. I'm ADHD, and all that back office can be a lot. So subscriptions are a lot easier for me. I do hold scholarship spots every month for people who, you know, are of less means or struggling, because ADHD people, we do struggle with money. So I understand that and want to try to help everyone. And I'll be starting groups pretty soon too. So I'll be able to help even more people at a lower cost.
I really appreciate your transparency on that. And thank you, because I mean, I think a lot of us as business owners, we struggle with accessibility, and just like, how do we make this, like, I want to reach this demographic, or I want to reach this population, but I know that they don't have the residual income required to be making that kind of impact and commitment. Or they do, and they have a hard time maybe because of their situations to be able to navigate. So, that's definitely speaks well. And so, yeah, what would you like this group program to look like? How long?
Oh, yes, you would ask me that. So it really depends on the individual as to how long they're going to be in coaching. My packages run for about 6 months, but I tell my clients, you know, I want you to commit to 2 months, because it takes time to get started and to make changes. But after that, if I'm not helping you, I don't want to hold you back. I'm going to help you find a coach that will help you. But it really depends on an individual's goals as to how long they'll be in coaching. Some people might only need 3 months. Some people might need more than 6 months. It is very individual.
And so why do you give it that 2 month feeling? What pulls you towards that?
I just feel like, and typically I do a session a week at 60 minutes. So by 4 sessions, I feel like I have gotten a pretty good introduction to the person. So that'd be the first month. In the second month, it's really going to be coming from the client as to whether or not they're embracing the coaching and moving forward. If they haven't made progress in that second month, then it's time to look at alternatives.
Okay, so it's just like a feel and take based on getting to know the person and then seeing if they applied some of the strategies.
Absolutely.
That's great. And so how do you, what are some of the things that people can participate in, or what are some of the things that they have to work on while they're with you?
Sure. Well, I like to help my clients personal growth in areas like social skills, future thinking, self-compassion, and self-awareness. I actually facilitate a strengths-focused collaboration where I help my clients find the best use of their talents and strengths, and not to forever focus on their weakest areas, because we all have weaknesses, but it doesn't mean we have to design our lives to create, sorry, the dog, doesn't mean we have to design our lives to struggle with them all the time, you know?
Oh, I love that. I mean, it sounds like it's a very valuable mindset, and I'm sure there's so much there in the way that they can access you, or content they can review, things that they can do.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we focus a lot on building systems, habits, and rituals that make their daily lives easier and more enjoyable. But really, the amount of self-discovery that there is in coaching, just it's wonderful for anyone. Yes, I am an ADHD coach, but I can coach anyone. It's life coaching with an extra ability and extra education of ADHD. So it really is for everyone.
It's super niche though. I mean, it's good to be specific, right? Because then people who when you're marketing, people who are, you know, who have that are going to be the ones to say, well, yeah, that's a journey I need to take.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Plus with your background and your own personal journey, there's a lot to look up to.
Thank you.
So what is your current challenges right now? What things are challenging for your business, or, you know, what projects are you working on that we can help you support you with?
Thank you. Well, I mean, I am just so excited to have so many projects that I want to do. I eventually want to write a book. I can see myself opening a ADHD wellness spa in the future for people who have just been diagnosed so that they can come and learn all about themselves. However, for me right now, it's just getting my feet, you know, stable in business practices and being a new business owner. That's, of course, it's scary, but I'm driven by the people that I help. And I just absolutely love meeting with them and hearing their wins and successes. And just getting the word out there about ADHD coaching, also to our providers, to our primary care doctors, and to our educators, getting the word out there that ADHD is not just that little hyper boy. It is not just paying attention in school. It affects every area of your life, from romantic relationships to, you know, your money management skills. A lot of people don't realize that ADHD has an emotional regulation element. And I know when I learned about that in my 30s, it was such a relief, because in my 20s, I was, what's going on? Why do once a month I end up in tears in my office? Well, women, we have this wonderful cycle that makes it even harder for us with our ADHD symptoms. And learning these things just allows you to give yourself more self-compassion, because these are biological differences. They aren't something that we choose. It has nothing to do with morality. And being able to stop judging ourselves and stop carrying that shame, that in itself is so rewarding.
It is. It sounds like something that's so process oriented. That people who are going through this could really just use a little bit of like time and energy focus with the support of someone to help them get the next step. So what kinds of things are you currently trying to do? Are you, what are the things that you're prioritizing? Is it that book? Is it that group program?
Well, actually, I'm trying to prioritize creating freebies for my clients and for any prospective clients. So I'm going to be translating what the spoon theory is for ADHD people soon, and offering that for free on my website. I also create TikToks and social media content that is rich with ADHD education in order to help educate a larger group. So what I can use help with, will come find me on social media and like me and share and comment. I'd love it.
Perfect. That sounds like a really strategic thing in that audience and list building development, so that
yes,
that audience of people who are like primed and ready to hear your next thing. Well, it was really a pleasure to meet you, Dorsey. And I love that you started a nonprofit. I love your energy. You're definitely, I would consider you a thought leader, a person who's trying to really shift and change your chosen industry. And I wish you all the best of luck, and let us know if you need anything.
Thanks so much. I really appreciated it so much. Love it.
Thanks. Bye-bye.